This week's episode has everything. We talk about Cajun Tots, getting lit at a party with free unlimited alcohol. We talk about old historic buildings.
This is 100% a promotion of McMenamins.
You know, I always say no free pub.
That's what you say.
This episode is just pub, for the brew pub. I talk about, in this episode, I tell people how brew pubs were even able to exist in Oregon, and we talk about the journeys that we've been on to go to every single one of the 56 locations of McMenamins, which is a big
local chain. Oregon, maybe Pacific Northwest staple.
Beautiful. So thanks for gearing up for this week's episode of Exploregonians.
All right, here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Let's go, Funky Monkey.
Katie just suggested that we have a brand of like waxing tools called Wax On, Wax It.
I thought it was going to be a hair removal shop.
Oh.
So like it was our business called Wax On.
Wax It. I mean, it's not bad. Is everything Karate Kid themed? Like, oh, I'll take the Mr. Miyagi.
Sure.
Okay. What about the dance on? What does that give you?
I don't know what that means.
Well, Dan is the main character. Daniel.
It's
He's
been a
the
while.
one who waxes.
I
Does he wax Mr. Miyagi?
prefer the one with Hilary Swank.
Very good. Is that what is that Karate Kid Part 3?
I don't know.
Or is that Next Generation?
As a kid, I liked it.
Very good.
It's time for a rewatch.
Hey, guess what, everyone? Welcome to Exploregonians, a travel misadventures stories podcast.
Ooh,
It just keeps, that subtitle gets longer and longer and longer.
great.
Yeah. Hey, I'm Jordan, a co-host here with the podcast.
Welcome, Jordan.
Thank you, not Jordan. What's your name, Jordan?
I'm Katie.
Hi, Katie. What's your job here at the podcast?
I guess my job is being a co-host and responding to your facts that you throw my way.
Yeah, because you have nothing. You are holding your knee in one hand and an OPB Oregon Field Guide mug in the other.
Filled with jasmine tea in the other. Right. I'm more improv. Jordan has like a list of things.
Hey, this is episode 26. And this is the first episode that we are not necessarily focusing on a specific area in Oregon or abroad. This time we're kind of focusing on something that is Oregon-centric and is a pivotal part of what like Oregon's identity has become. And that is McMenamins.
I thought you were going to say beer.
Well, I mean, it's part of beer. That's a whole story with it.
I'm not going to lie. I kind of like...
Want beer?
No, I like blacked out. I was like still thinking about how you gave Sarah a shout out, and so I was just kind of like processing that, and I was like, oh, it's probably Sarah and Jessica or somebody. And
Yeah.
Anyway, and so I don't even know what you said.
That third
Can you
person.
repeat?
Yeah, I sure could. No, I'm not going. Actually, I'm gonna pause this podcast, and what we're gonna do, I'm gonna play it back for Katie. We're gonna be with you in just a moment.
Okay.
Let's pretend you're getting some incidental music.
Okay, I'm all caught up.
Well, very good. What'd you think about that intro?
I thought, well, the intro or
Either, both,
the whole thing,
whole
great.
thing, soup to nuts.
Loved it.
Great. Still thinking about that beer.
Nope.
Ruby sounds really good and refreshing right now.
You know what? We're just going to go full out. Yeah, we're going to talk about McMenamins.
Yeah, we're going full Monty for the Mick.
But let's just talk about how to pronounce it, because I feel like it's a funky one.
Spell it.
M-C...
Okay.
M.
Is that M lowercase or capitalized?
Okay, big M, little c.
Okay.
Big M. E. N. N. I.
Ooh, no.
N.
M-O-U-S-E. McMenamins.
So, I feel like it's like McMenamins or McMenamins.
McMenamins. It's M-C, capital M-E-N-A-M-I-N-S. Who needs to know the spelling?
Everybody.
Everybody.
Because you might not know how to say it
Yeah,
when
and
you
then
see it.
Googling it will be really difficult. You'll go, I don't know about McMenamins.
All right, so McMenamins is...
It is an institution. It began in 1983 and is going
Before
strong.
we were born.
I was born in 1957, so I don't know who you think you're talking to.
Before I was born.
Before you were born.
1983.
Good job. So it started out it was a pub. It was Barley Mill Pub, and that's in Portland, and it was off Hawthorne. And so that's the very first one.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I think I kind of remember that. We just kind of popped in. We haven't really hung out there.
Well, we've popped in for a very specific reason, and we'll get to that.
We're going to get to that.
But McMenamins, so it has since ballooned into this enormous behemoth. Nothing can kill it. Not that we want it to die, but
Enormous behemoth.
So it is ballooned into brew pubs, hotels, movie theaters, concert venues.
Well, did you say movie theaters?
I sure did.
Because I was thinking concert venues. You said it all.
I said everything.
Spas,
soaking pools, places where adults can walk around in white robes on property grounds and not get like a second look.
I had no idea what McMenamins was.
At all. Did you?
At all. No.
Before.
I mean, I think I probably passed it, looked at it, was like, oh, like it didn't, maybe I went to one in a strip mall once.
Right. And which were, let's be honest, the lowest quality McMenamins.
Yeah. I mean, if that's a special place for you, that's fine.
And if it's a neighborhood thing, that's great. But if
Totally.
that's your only experience, then you're severely missing out.
Right. So yeah, I didn't think it was a thing. I think I saw one in a strip mall, maybe the one in Lincoln City, maybe the one in like off Allen or something.
Okay.
You know, on our way to
The Murray and Allen one?
Yeah. So anyway, I didn't really I didn't know it was going to be a thing. And then when my cousin got married, that's when I realized that it was happening. It was a big deal. I mean, when did she get married?
The same year that the year after you and I got married, so 2015.
So there we go. So maybe it was like 2014, you think?
You didn't have it on your radar before then?
No.
I'm going to say you did, but you were experiencing McMenamins, but you must not have known it because it is a pivotal part of some of my favorite moments of us together, which happened pre-2014, and your mind's going to be blown when we address it.
Some of your favorite memories?
Yeah, before 2014.
Oh.
Okay, we're going to put a pin in it. Let's come back to these special memories of this place you don't remember.
All right, let's go.
So, McMenamins, how it started as a pub. Before 1985, businesses in Oregon could not make beer and then sell it on the same premises. So if you were making beer, the only way for you to sell it would be to find a tavern, find a pub, find a restaurant, and convince them to have your wares being served there. And so that was it was a big deal. It's a Prohibition era law. So I think it was maybe the creators of Widmer Brothers, they partnered with the McMenamins, who partnered with other people in this fledgling brew scene in Oregon, specifically Portland area.
In the 80s.
Yes, in the 80s. So in I think it was 84, 85, they were working with the Oregon House and Oregon Senate to try to pass legislation that would allow brew pubs to be in existence, which was a popular thing abroad, but it really wasn't happening at all in the U.S. And so there was some anecdote about one of these people. They were in I don't know, the Multnomah Athletic Club showers, and he saw this representative, and so they're in the showers. And he's like, "Hey, it'd be pretty cool if we, did a different bill here."
One of the brothers?
I don't think it was one of the McMenamin brothers. It was someone else.
Wow.
So eventually,
See, if you want anything done, you got to corner somebody in the shower.
It was a bill was introduced in the House, and then they eventually killed it because there was a powerful lobby with alcohol distributors, and so that was overwhelming, and so they ended up tabling the legislation. So they were like, "Oh, great. Well, what are we going to do now?" So then what ended up happening was they did two different types of Senate bills. One was it was some distribution thing, but the one that ended up passing is that they slipped in wording in this Senate bill that would allow bed and breakfasts to have liquor licenses. And so that passed, and they slipped in language to allow brew pubs to be a thing in Oregon.
Wow.
So, with that, McMenamins started in 1983. 1985, this passes, completely changes the landscape of what a brew pub can be. And then they only had like three or four locations at that time only.
Wait, I just want to do like a quick side because you're talking about the 80s, and what came up for me was like Mothers Against Drunk Driving, like MAD, like that was a big deal. And apparently that was founded in 1980. And so I just kind of wonder like if that, impacted them kind of being able to like change the language around that. Or, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like, did you ever hear that growing up? Probably not, because you weren't even alive.
Yeah, because I wasn't alive, one. We were all about Dare in the 90s.
Totally. Sorry, I feel like 80s, it was like drunk driving, and I mean...
And then we solved it. No one drunk drives anymore.
Totally. Anyway, keep going.
So the Hillsdale location of the McMenamins became the first brew pub. I think it might have been the first one in Oregon. It was definitely the first one for McMenamins. So at that point, which was radical at the time, you could go to the same establishment that was brewing the beer, and then you could have it there. And so that completely changed everything, and that's pretty much why Portland is one of the beer capitals of the U.S. right now. Partly because of the McMenamins.
Wow. So who are the McMenamins?
Well, it's Mike and Brian. Don't know them personally. Saw them once or twice, and the line to meet them was like trying to meet Mickey Mouse at Disneyland on like a packed day.
They are brothers.
They are brothers.
Who's older?
Either Mike or Brian.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. So it has now transformed into this like monstrous thing. So there's like 56 locations across Oregon and Washington. 46 are in Oregon. 10 are in Washington. And it's pretty much like a straight shot like along like the I-5 corridor that links like Seattle down to Roseburg, which is south of Eugene. So that's pretty much like the concentration. There's an outlier in Bend in Central Oregon, and then a couple outliers on the coast. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, we've experienced this. You could go to most of the McMenamins in like a day.
But we had heard that kind of anecdote years ago that somebody was like, oh, the McMenamin brothers, they only want to build like a place that they can drive to in a day.
Right.
And so, I mean, we were getting coffee one time from a coffee shop, and we were telling somebody we were doing something with McMenamins, and they're like, oh yeah, I went to one of those, or I love that place, and I'm from Arizona, and yeah, we have them all over down there. We're like, I don't think we're talking about the same thing. So I don't know what's in Arizona, but it's not that, you guys.
I do love when you're talking to somebody and again, we've addressed this in every single episode this season. When I know something to be true, I know it. But in that moment, both of us were like, this girl is empirically wrong. And it was hilarious to be like, oh, yeah, okay. There was no having a conversation about it.
No, she knew it to be true. And I should have looked at Jordan and said, this is you.
This is what you sound like every time you open your mouth.
Okay, so if you're in Oregon, if you're in Portland area, I feel like McMenamins is very accessible to you. But I feel like really if you're anywhere in Oregon, probably a McMenamins is nearby or accessible to you.
I mean, if you're in Pendleton.
But I was like, but even if you're in Pendleton, you could probably drive an
hour
hour or two and right.
That's true. One of the big things I think is like a marquee attraction for McMenamins is that they would find like buildings with like historical significance or that were intriguing to them. And instead of letting them be demolished and, have that property turned into whatever, they would save that historical property, transform it into like hotels, brew pub. They would transform it into theaters sometimes. And so I think that is like one of the most special things about what McMenamins has done, even though they're a private business doing it for profit. But it's still really cool to be like, oh, this was like a school with historical significance in Northeast Portland. And look, they've saved it. And you can sleep in an old classroom.
Right. It's charming. We stayed at the location in Bend, which was where my uncle went to school before it closed down. And so that was really interesting. And then Jordan and I were we were in the bedroom and looked on the wall, and there was a quote from my uncle.
You went and sat on the toilet in the bathroom.
Well, that's
with
true.
The stall door open, and the quote was outside the stall door while you were sitting on the toilet, and so you were able to read Dave McLean's quote,
That's right.
while you tinkled.
That's in the altar boys room. So
It sure is.
if you stay at St. Francis and Bend, there you go.
So if I were to describe like the vibe of McMenamins in general, it's definitely this like weird nexus of like hippie, historical, whimsical.
Burnout?
Sure, burnout. They love the Grateful Dead, like obsessed with the Grateful Dead.
And I feel like you told me that, and I didn't know what that was. Not really. I was like, oh, Grateful Dead. Like that.
No love for Jerry Garcia.
You know, you have mentioned that name. I've heard that name. I don't know him. I wouldn't recognize the picture. I do not have a relationship with the Grateful Dead, which is sad because I think
You're more of a Fish girl.
oh my God, I would really appreciate it that much more. Like we went to a McMenamins once, like to some event, and I feel like there was a lot of deadheads, right? Like walking around, and everybody has, what are they, bears? I don't even know.
Yeah, the bear. If you don't know, you look at the bears, you're like, well, that's really cute. And you're like, oh, I think that's probably, does that mean LSD? I don't really know.
Anyway, so yeah, they are apparently really into the Grateful Dead. And so there is like a whimsical alternative.
I mean, McMenamins probably be really fun on mushrooms.
Probably. And yeah, like there is like a specific aesthetic.
Well, the aesthetic part of it is they go for historical surrealism, is what their website says.
Well, we heard also that they like go and shop around and get these really fun exotic like lamps.
Which is probably a really fun write-off. Like, oh, I had to go to Istanbul for the
Totally,
lamps.
Totally, or get this like rug or whatever. Yeah, it's.
I mean, they'll just put like artsy Easter eggs throughout their properties. Like one of the things is oftentimes on like exposed pipework, they'll just have someone paint like a face or a moon or like something. There's something about it that's like really fun. They find ways to bring joy and those unexpected moments
In like the little details.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, right, like things aren't always as they appear. So you look at something and you're like, oh, cool. I see a blah, blah, blah. And then like you look again and maybe you see so much more. It's definitely something worth experiencing. And I think what's nice is you could walk into these hotels or restaurants and walk around and like help yourself.
Just take it in.
Right. You don't have to be staying there. You don't have to do all that.
And what's fun is that there's so many properties, but there's not like homogenization going on. Like you could drop us into any McMenamins, and more or less we could probably be like, well, I think this is like, they all have their definitely
cohesive. There is there is a style,
but they're all very different.
They are different
which
sure.
is fun. So yeah, my experience with McMenamins dates back like 20 years at this point.
Decades.
My aunt Patty moved out to the Portland metro area, and she wanted to treat us to like take us to like a lunch at this cool place that she had found. And so she took us to McMenamins, and for the longest time it was one of the strip mall ones. I don't know if it was Oak Hills, I don't know if it was the Murray and Allen one. I'm not sure which one it was, but I was like, this is the best burger I've ever had. It's so cool in here. There's like little cool lights on every table. Like it blew my like 11-year-old mind. I had no idea it was a brewery thing. I didn't know it was like historically significant. I just knew I loved their hamburger and I loved their fries.
Aw, that's nice.
So that was like a big memory for me. So I remember when I would go out, I'd be like, are we gonna go to McMenamins again? So we only went a few times, but then I found out there was one in Lincoln City, and I was like, how did one get in Lincoln City? Like I felt like that Arizona girl. I was like, wow, they have them here too?
Yeah. Well, that's true. I guess I did go there with like my mom. But see, I just thought it was
Lincoln City.
Yeah, I didn't realize.
Because that's a strip mall one too. It's a weird one because you're like, oh, they are brewing there. But you're like, what's happening here? It's 2 stories. I like that it's 2 stories.
Yeah.
But I was so enamored by this magical one in Lincoln City that I took a girl there on a date.
Yeah.
But she lived in Pacific City, so she lived south of Tillamook, and I didn't have a car at the time. So I was like, hey, it sounds like a fun date. You come pick me up in Tillamook. We're going to drive down to Lincoln City. When we're done there, you're going to drive me back to Tillamook so then you can drive to Pacific City. I was like, I want to take him. He was an adult male.
How old was he?
He was 19.
Oh, that is not an adult male.
He was legally...
That's basically a 13-year-old.
Well, for me it was.
I think, when you're young and you're...
Dumb.
But also, like, you're excited to
Voting.
go on a date. I mean, it's probably not that big of a deal. I feel like I was way more motivated to drive. Like, sure, I'll just drive to Roseburg in a day.
For a date?
For a date. I mean, you're just... I think you're more flexible, and it's fine. You're like, sure, I'll just drive here, drive there, and you want to spend time together, so it's nice.
Aw. And then I think in my 20s is when, like, you and I, like, had our McMenamins time, but it's also where I had my first adult beverage. Was at a McMenamins.
Because he's
Serendipitously,
obsessed, clearly.
apparently. So I was living in college. I was living on 23rd and Burnside
In Portland.
in a studio apartment I couldn't afford. But then my then girlfriend and another friend, we went to the Zeus Cafe in the Pearl. And so we went there, and apparently it was new. Like, it opened in 2011, which is when I turned 21.
Wow.
Yeah. So I didn't know what I was doing. So I was like, oh, I'll take a rum and Coke. I saw my mom do that once.
That's fine.
It was terrible. I was like, this is gross. Why drink? Ew. Yeah. So that was that complex. So that area in Portland, there's like the Zeus Cafe, there's Ringler's, there's Al's Den, then there's the Crystal Complex. And so the Crystal Complex is like the Crystal Ballroom, the Crystal Hotel, and it's all in downtown Portland. It's very interesting. And the Crystal Hotel maybe used to be like a men's. There was something. Was it like a gay club or a place where like gay men would stay, and so they'd go down to the pool? I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, there's definitely there's like so much history. I don't know, but I was gonna say just about the ballroom, like that's special, like up above where they have.
It's magnificent.
Concerts, and they were hosting 80s night and 90s night and little dance parties.
Little dance parties? They
Big
were huge.
dance parties. But I went to... Okay, so my McMenamins memories are coming. They're coming back. I got it now. So I went with my mom to a Cage the Elephant concert at McMenamins Crystal Ballroom. And I had never been there. I didn't even know what Cage the Elephant was. And I was surprised that my mom was into it. She had like bought a t-shirt that I stole. Yeah.
It's a freaky t-shirt. I didn't know what it was until I was like, it was an upside down, like, scary, like, skull clown.
I just like the blue color, so that's why I
too.
wore it. But see, I think I saw my old teacher from Tillamook there.
Which teacher?
My 6th grade teacher.
Oh, what?
I think so.
The one that our other friend who was a teacher tried to hook you up with?
Right, like years later, she's like, oh, what about this guy? And I was like, that was my 6th grade teacher. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay.
She didn't have much of a reaction, which was weird.
No. Anyway, weird times, you guys. So, Cage the Elephant made it. But like the floor kind of has like some bounce to it.
They're like, we took a tour of the Crystal Ballroom in order to get a stamp. We'll talk about that in a second. But they're on like ball bearings. There's something in there that makes it like feel like you are floating.
Which was maybe really ideal for ballroom dancing.
You'd hope that a ballroom floor would be ideal for ballroom dancing.
You hope so, but hey.
I went on a date to, well, it wasn't really a date. It was like two friends going to a concert at the Crystal Ballroom. Anyway.
All right.
I want to talk about, I do want to stick with the Crystal Ballroom because they also have a Lola's room, which was named after, like, maybe I don't know if she was chief of police or she was something, but she loved cracking down on anybody drinking alcohol. Like, it was definitely like hardcore prohibition. Like, Lola was going to shut you down. And so it was very cheeky that the McMenamins named this like special auxiliary venue area after Lola. So I went to Lola with this ex-girlfriend to go to my first 80s night. Thought it was amazing. I had so much fun. I didn't dress like an 80s at all. It was just Jordan going, I was awkward. I wasn't.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you didn't even hesitate.
Totally.
So yeah, and then that was fine. Fast forward like almost a year later, and you reach out. And you are in Portland while I'm in Portland. I've since moved out. I'm living with Patty.
All right.
All right. Hey, Aunt Patty. And you invite me to go be your DD / go with you to 80s night at the Crystal Ballroom. And so I thought it was going to be in Lola's room, which is low ceiling, low capacity. It's kind of claustrophobic in there.
It's not my preferred.
But you had never been in Lola's room.
No.
So you
I didn't even know it was a thing. So the first time I went to Lola's room, I was like, what's going on here? Like, no, it was, if you have the opportunity, just don't.
So what do you remember about that Crystal Ballroom experience with me?
When you were the DD?
Yeah, quote unquote. You weren't even drinking.
No. But it was just in case. I was trying to be responsible. I remember you showing up. I think we met in the parking garage, and then we all got in the same car. It was me and a friend. We were celebrating her birthday.
But I feel like I had I was dressed kind of like 80s grunge band.
I know.
I had a wig.
Like a mullet?
Yeah, I was wearing a mullet.
Right. I mean, Jordan had a look. He was ready to party. I think I had crimped hair. And yeah, I mean, we were ready to be 80s. So I just remember going in, and it's very fun. The lights are going.
It's in the ballroom.
It's in the Crystal Ballroom. It's big. It's loud. We have a huge screen.
There's like 3 screens.
Okay, we have 3 screens, and they're playing 80s music videos. And I mean, yeah, I feel like it was crowded, but not like Lola's room.
We were able to get our own space, and at that same Crystal Ballroom event, I think it was the one that we went to, there was 2 women wearing Victorian gowns and like powdered wigs as if they were from not the 1980s, but the 1880s or 1780s. I'm not sure which 80s they were going, but they were definitely Victorian looking, which I think is more probably 1880s.
And that was fun.
Hilarious. But my memory of that Crystal Ballroom was, we had interacted before. We had a solid friendship that we had kind of developed. But watching you dance for the first time in the Crystal Ballroom was this like love at first sight moment. Like it was like butterflies. I was like, oh my God, I'm into Katie.
Wow.
Yeah, like fireworks were going off. I couldn't take my eyes off you, even though I was like trying to like, don't stare at Katie as she dances. Don't stare at Katie as she dances.
Man.
Didn't know if you were dating anybody at the time because you're whimsical and mysterious that way. Like, oh, me? Who knows?
Who knows?
Severely attracted to you.
Well, I was just there to have a good time, and it was a good time.
It sure was. Because I fell in love that night.
Wow.
Yep.
But then we were just friends
for the next year.
Yeah. So, what about it?
It was amazing. It was so much fun. It was such a fun venue. They decorated it so well. They have these like enormous like murals or like pieces of art that they have, these like giant like circles, and they're like covered in like lights.
Oh, yeah. Extravagant light fixtures, as we've talked about.
It's
yeah,
ridiculous.
We've been to the Crystal Ballroom several times, and it's always really nice, and I think something worth experiencing.
And so it's just really interesting that McMenamins just, to go from a brew pub to also be like, oh yeah, we'll also have concert venues and we'll also have hotels. I mean, it's just really impressive what they've been able to do.
Right.
And so going back with like us and going on dates. So the Rock Creek Tavern McMenamins.
Yes.
That was like one of our, like, I took you there.
Which clearly, I think I didn't know how many locations there were.
They're everywhere.
Right. Like McMenamins wasn't a thing, but it was a thing with you and I. But I think that's because you were suggesting it. And I was like, you were suggesting it. And I was like, let's do it. And yeah, so we went to the Rock Creek Tavern,
which was an old, I don't know what it was before, but in the early 2000s, it did burn down. The original one was destroyed. And so they ended up recreating it as best as they could. And so that is the current one. But when you and I went to the date there, because I'd never been to the Rock Creek Tavern, and it was like way more out in the boonies than I expected it to be.
Yeah, we're like driving the back roads. We're like, are we sure it's back here? But yeah, apparently they have live music every day.
Or at least they used to. I don't know if they still do. But that was definitely in the before days. We also had a really good bison burger there at one point, which McMenamins food, quite dubious. Like it is on a spectrum. Like either you're like, this is average, below average.
Right. Like, okay, just okay pub food. Or, I mean, we've had some really amazing meals there also.
Like
So,
there's one it's the Anderson School, which is in Bothell, which is east of Seattle. Like they had this like pork dish. I still think about that pork dish
I
that we
know.
had.
It was really good.
Yeah, and I was like, wait, where are the McMenamins? It was very strange. So that date at Rock Creek, like we go in, it's like I feel like we're in Gaston's Tavern.
Mhm.
Like I feel at any point like a burly man eating like 180 eggs a day is gonna like show up and we're all gonna sing to him.
Oh, good.
And so I think
With our steins.
yeah, with our huge steins. When we parked, wherever we parked, it was like right in the bush. So like I jumped out into bushes. Yeah, it was a really good time. It was a good day. I was like, I just went on a date with Katie.
Wow.
It was a good time. But our entire McMenamins relationship fundamentally shifted forever when you found out your cousin had been doing this thing called the passport.
Okay, so that's what she's talking about. And I feel like you and Jessica were like, oh, yeah, talking about the passport and McMenamins in general. And I was like nodding my head, like trying to keep up, but I think really not fully grasping what we were talking about. So they were like, oh, we completed the passport and now we have...
They had some post of like all of the swag that they got for doing this passport.
Right. And I was like, what is happening? Okay, so now we got it. So back in the day, we could go to any McMenamins and say, I want to sign up for the passport program. And so we paid $20, which now the price has gone up, but
still $35, which is still really, really good.
it's a really great deal. So, you pay the fee, you get a book that looks like a legitimate passport, and it has McMenamins logo, and then every single location inside. And so the objective for us was, to go to every single location and to complete this passport. And they provide prizes along the way. So, like, if you go to, like, a big hotel or school and you get all their little stamps, then maybe they'll give you, I don't know, just a variety of different
The hotel
prizes.
ones had like I think the higher quality items for the most part, but the hotel ones had like a scavenger hunt component too. It was like, oh, we won't give you the hotel stamp until you find you had to like solve a riddle. They had like a sphinx in the lobby.
Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, yeah, we definitely had to work for it, or it's like, and then we'd go, up on the third floor, there's a bunch of paintings, and it was like, take a picture with you in this one painting, and then they'll come back, and then we'll have completed the scavenger hunt, and then we'll give you like a t-shirt or maybe some other stuff.
At one time we got like
glasses.
We got Christmas ornaments. So we have like Christmas ornaments for like two of their like mascots that we put on our Christmas tree, and it's very fun.
We have like a nice like bottle opener.
I love that bottle opener. It's the best bottle opener ever, and it's really great with Topo Chico. This is just one big advertisement.
I know. Anyway, we got to start getting sponsors, you guys. So, I mean, most of our glassware is McMenamins.
And they are fun. They're fun logos. It's because it keeps with that whimsical, goofy aesthetic. I will say, the one dangerous thing about running around these hotels trying to find pictures of like the artwork is that you are running around the hotel. So if you are staying in a room that's right next to like the main like passport objective photo, like all the night and day, you're just going to hear like footsteps outside your room. Mm-hmm. But there was one time...
Yeah, Jordan was scarred once.
Yeah, you were getting a facial...
At the spa
at the Grand Lodge in Forest Grove.
Jordan's trying to solve the riddle.
I'm solving the riddle, so I'm walking around and I find the artwork, but I'm right by someone's hotel room, and there was, I'm going to say erotic noises. Very loud erotic noises coming from that bedroom that was right next to the art. So I'm sitting there, like, listening to the sound effects, like, trying to, like, open my phone camera to, like, take the picture. I'm like, I gotta get out of here.
So there you go. It's do it at your own risk.
But the passport thing, for me, it was so fun to be able to go to every single location. It was fun for me. And at that time when we first were doing it, I was working this like new job at the newspaper in town, and so I think I was really stressed. But I would take like our one day off, and then you and I would just like hit the road.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we busted out all of the Portland area ones in like 2 days.
Yeah, no, we were, and so something that was nice is, and I think that they changed it, maybe changed it back, but when we were doing it, you didn't have to buy anything. And so that was really great, so that we could just show up and present our passport, and then we'd get our stamps and we could just leave. And obviously then the same thing, they'd be like, "Oh, well, to get the stamp, you got to go like, look around." So we have really checked out all the McMenamins, and they've made us look at all their eclectic artwork and fixtures, and it's good.
I mean, it's a really fun showcase of like the thing that they've been able to build over the past 40 years. Obviously, the way we did our first passport, because we've completed 2. The way we did the first passport really probably wasn't in the spirit of what the passport was meant to be.
Right.
Like, in an ideal world, we just take a date night, and, every night for like a year, we go to a different McMenamins and
Right.
have,
It's chill.
Right. But for us, it was like a game. It was like, it felt like we were on McMenamins, Amazing Race.
I was also thinking Amazing Race.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, we got to get this done immediately. And I think maybe just because life was busy
Mhm.
and stressful. And so it was like, we only have like this limited time, and let's like get it done. But, and sometimes one of the prizes are like, can be food also, where it's like, oh, a free burger or like fries or tots or something. And
Well, I think the Eugene ones, like because the way the prizes are divvied up is geographically. So it's like, oh, I did all of the like Southwest Portland ones. My prize is a growler and a $20 gift card. And then the Eugene ones was just tots.
right.
You're like, we are in a college town and you're going to give us tots?
Well, that's probably why.
Well, yeah. And there's only so many tots that you can have. I mean, McMenamins does tots
Yeah.
real well, but
I know. We kind of OD'd on tots.
we sure did. I think there was a moment we loved going to one of the McMenamins hotels, the Baghdad Theater off Hawthorne.
You say hotel?
Sorry, movie theater.
Movie theater, yeah.
I mean, I slept there. Did you? And I just feel like every time we went, we got a basket of tots.
Always.
And we'd watch the movie. And I think we did like the midnight showing for Beauty and the Beast there. Not,
What?
I think so.
Wow.
And then we also went into the, quote unquote, like midnight showing, even though it was like the early showing of Infinity
And
War.
those like Avengers.
Yeah. And so we went to the Avengers Infinity War, and there was someone who was like doing like a really weak cosplay of Bucky Barnes / the Winter Soldier. He just had tinfoil over one of his arms.
I forgot about that.
That was the best movie-going experience I've ever had in my entire life. Like, the crowd was involved. We were whooping. We were hollering.
Yeah, everybody was there for a good time and having a good time. And it was a good time.
Yeah.
I know. But we've also played pool at different McMenamins. Like I have a memory of, I think they knocked it down and they rebuilt that one off Cedar Hills.
Oh, yeah.
But we played pool there. I was going to say behind the Baghdad, there's that other little thing.
Yeah, that's I'm not sure, was it the backstage bar or something where they have like this enormous like fire curtain that was from the old theater, and so it was there if a fire broke out, they just release the fire curtain and extinguish everything.
Right.
It's huge.
And it's like it's dark, right? I mean, it's like kind of, I think McMenamins can be kind of moody. I mean, some of them there's more light and it's brighter, but I think there's plenty of McMenamins that are it's like kind of dark in here. But it's like, it's cozy, too.
Right.
I know we've done another one where we're sitting around the fireplace in the one off 23rd.
Oh, you're talking about the Blue Moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, it's like a giant fireplace. You can get like, 8, 12 people around that thing. That's a fun one.
See, this is all pub. Free pub.
Free pub for the pub. So speaking of like the 23rd area, Blue Moon's off 21st. But so the Ram's Head, do you remember that one? It's like right off 23rd. It's closing at the end of June.
Really?
I can't think of another McMenamin. One is probably closed, but it's crazy that they are closing doors.
Dang.
Yeah, and I have a lot of good memories at the Ram's Head. It's where Dave and Sarah and Allison and I went after we went engagement ring shopping for you, and we sent that picture to you.
Aw.
So we went to the Ram's Head. Yeah, I was like kind of sad.
Maybe we should go.
Well, we have until the 30th.
All right, know what we're doing.
All right, Ram's Head, here we come. So us doing the passport and just going to every location and like, having some strange Google Maps like directions. What are some of your
Google Maps would never.
I think there were times where like, I don't think we're going to make it. But what are some of your like favorite memories of like doing that?
Of doing the passport?
Mm-hmm.
I think going to unexpected areas. I mean, it was really nice, I think, to even go to like Roseburg, and we went and enjoyed the McMenamins. But then, I think we also stumbled upon the Roseburg's local movie theater, and that was a very positive experience. And just to be able to check out different areas. I mean, I also remember going to Tacoma, Washington, and there was a new McMenamins that had opened up, and it was like the Elks Lodge, and just being in Tacoma and looking at the water, it just like was like a beautiful view. And like, staying in Kalama, and that's also right on the water, and you're watching these ships go by, and I wish I could beam images of all the places I'm talking about so you could understand. But one memory is staying in Centralia, and it is literally right by the train, and it is so loud. So when you spend the night there, they give you earplugs, and you're like, I'm not going to need these. It's not going to be that bad. It is bad. It is so bad. It's so loud.
It's like building rocking loud.
Surprisingly loud. But, I think we've stayed there a couple times.
Well, because we found out they have an ADA room, which in Centralia, it's just like this little town in Washington, which I think was maybe a bigger, more important place in like the early 1900s.
Yeah.
Because it is described, because it's in Centralia, it's called the Olympic Club. And on the website, it quotes, it was famous for bandits, bars, and brothels.
I mean, that's the vibe.
So that's definitely what the Olympic Club was like. And so, the rooms were Spartan. And it was like so loud with the train. But the ADA room is accessible via the main street. And so is there, I think, the movie theater. And so we would go into the ADA room, which was fantastic. Like super high ceilings. Like the ceilings were like 2.5 stories high. So that room was super cool.
Not that we're promoting people to stay in the ADA room, because I think it's nice to leave it to people who maybe actually need that.
Well, we would do it last minute.
We did it last minute.
Like day of.
Night of. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what about you? Any standout memories?
I mean, obviously the big one is us ending in Bend. And we ended there intentionally so we could...
With our first passport.
Exactly. So we ended with our first passport. And when you complete your passport, each person is awarded 3 hotel stays, 2 a pair of concert tickets, and then I think you get like happy hour pricing. You get a bunch of other swag. Like you become a cosmic tripster.
Right.
And so we were like, we'll go stay in Bend for a couple nights for our anniversary. And we'll be able to stay for free immediately. Mm-hmm. And so we did it, and then we're done. And you were like, and we're done here. Like,
oh, yeah. I felt so, just joyful. I was very happy.
Satisfied.
I was satisfied. We had completed the passport. I'm like, great. We've done it. And then I look at Jordan, and he's getting this look, and was like, yeah, that was good. But if we get another one... we'd have so many stamps. Like,
we'd get Bend out of the way immediately.
Oh my God. And so then, of course, I cave, and there we go. So then we have our second passport.
So the cool thing about the Bend location is like, it used to be an old school, but then they also have like, I think my favorite of their soaking pools. Mm-hmm. It's mostly enclosed, but they do have like a section of the roof that's like cut out. And so there's like this giant rectangle. And so you and I went skiing, came back, and we were soaking in the soaking pool for our tired bones. And then it's like snowing on us in the pool. I was like, this is nice. I felt like a Japanese snow monkey.
Yeah, it was really wonderful. And then we went to leave, And then we got snowed in.
Because it snowed like an inch an hour for like 16 hours.
There's apparently a couple avalanches. They had a ton of cancellations, and that's how we ended up in the altar boy's room with my uncle's quote on the wall.
The altar boy's room is an upgrade room. It has 2 twin clawfoot tubs sitting next to each other. So we felt like Owen Wilson, Jackie Chan, and Shanghai Noon when they're like playing in the bathtub together.
Oh yeah, that was
So,
totally us.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, that was we got upgraded from the manager at the time. Thanks, Lacey.
Aw, Lacey. And then we sent her a thank you card with pictures of us in those tubs, but like they were tasteful. All you could see was our head and our exposed leg popping out of the tub. And that was behind the counter there at the check-in desk for
Yeah,
years. Crazy. So my other memory, so you mentioned Kalama. So Kalama's is interesting. They did not like
Restore,
renovate or
right.
restore an old building. So they just built from the ground up, but they built it to be a replica of the Pioneer Inn in Lahaina, Maui,
Right.
which that was unfortunately destroyed along with so many other structures and lives lost in the fires in Maui.
Yeah, which that was interesting because we stayed there the first time and read about that. And then this last time, that was after the fires had happened. It was like, whoa, like really crazy that it was modeled after that place that is now gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so it is really interesting to stay in Kalama because I think half, if not more than half of the rooms just have straight up just riverfront views.
Yeah.
And so you can just go out and just check it out.
And they also built, what was the thing next door? Not McMenamins, but the city of Kalama. They have like kind of a,
I don't know, kind of like a market type thing.
right, with a bunch of businesses. But I was going to say, more importantly, they have a beautiful little river walk, like a nice boardwalk, a paved.
Also,
Thing.
City of Kalama, their high school is where they filmed some parts of the Twilight movies.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Hey.
Whoa.
But that's the thing about McMenamins and the hotels is that they have all this artwork and they have these rooms that are dedicated to like the memory of like local people or moments in that area's history, whether it's the town itself or the building they're renovating. And so you can go around and look at like the the historical surrealist art, and it's all unique to that building, that property. And I think that is really special because each hotel room, like they'll paint it and kind of decorate it in its own like special way. And they'll have a write-up, a very detailed write-up about every single room that you're staying in.
Yeah.
That's a really great way to pay homage. And so McMenamins, they're not perfect. They do screwed up stuff. I think they got in trouble by the Department of Justice for maybe mismanaging like $800,000 worth of tips, which I think McMenamins was like, we're following the laws, but maybe they're like, allowing assistant managers and stuff to be in like the tip pool or something. So, they're not perfect. Their food is like on a spectrum, but I think it's one of those moments where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
For sure. It's right. There's so many things. And we've listened to like a lot of great music at different locations. Thinking of like the Kalama one, like the little room that they have, and they have the, what is it? Like an old, what we have in the garage, like
those old like furnaces or stoves.
Yeah, I mean, there's
that's such a McMenamins thing, like those like old stoves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, okay, yeah, McMenamins, it's definitely worth checking out, and yeah, if you have the time and the desire, the passports. And another thing about the passports is there's no time limit, right? We know people that have been doing the passports for years, and just enjoying the journey.
I think with the passport, it is a clever way that they are incentivizing just fun, serendipity. Like you said, like we played pool. Like one of the reasons we played pool at those properties was because you'd get a special stamp for doing it.
Right.
You can take a free tour of their brewery. You get a stamp for that. Just little things like that. And the fact that we were able to also go and like kind of stimulate economies that are, not super thriving, like Kalama. I think they've struggled in different ways. But for us to go and to like spend money at like their coffee shops or go to the other markets and see what they're doing there, I think is really important and is a really special thing that McMenamins has done.
Mm-hmm. Something you left out of when you complete the passport is McMenamins will you were invited to attend a party, which we were like, oh, party, great. It is like free food, free drinks.
Unlimited free drinks.
Yeah, it's dangerous. I mean, it is dangerous, but
Dangerously fun.
it is dangerously fun. And then yeah, like lots of music and I mean,
and ideally, like you're able to reserve like a hotel room like early enough. So like the
Right.
first one that we went to was at Edgefield, which is it's like probably like their crown jewel marquee property.
yeah, I think a lot of people would say that's their favorite. Like it's the big one.
It was an old poor farm, so people who were struggling had nowhere else, nothing else to do. They were able to live there.
Which my grandparents talked about it because like we took them there. I think no, or we were
Maybe,
just
or-
talking about it, and like my grandpa was like, "Oh yeah, I remember the old poor farm," and da 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 da. Anyway, so I mean, it's
In
interesting.
Troutdale, so it's like east of Portland proper. But it is just far enough away for like you and I that we don't really have much of a relationship with Edgefield. It's 74 acres. It's absolutely enormous.
Because they have like the winery there too, right?
And I think they do the cider there.
Right. I mean, yeah, they're doing a lot there.
It's massive.
I think the biggest spa situation is there.
And I think that don't have a relationship with their soaking pool, but I think their big one is there. You know, it's like the
theater,
one. Yeah, it's got it all. People will compare the Edgefield location to like Disneyland for adults, and that's the one where you go to and you're like, there's a bunch of people walking around in bathrobes, just like,
oh yeah, everywhere.
I mean, it is pretty wild. So yeah, that's their big one, but that is the one where like the biggest concerts are held, and so there's these big outdoor concerts, and so we've gone to them. The only concert we've gone to have been there.
Right. So then like the party, our first passport party that we went to was at Edgefield, and it was very hot.
Dog days of summer, baby.
I mean, oh my God. We show up and it's like, they're like, get some free drinks, whatever you want. I think they also had like ice cream. There was like so many like food options.
As we drove to Edgefield, it was over 100 degrees that day.
It was so hot and just a nightmare. But they did have some like AC like trailers that we went and hung out in. But
We
I mean,
did.
they had a lot of like yard games.
But
and...
the AC trailer, so we went and hung out the trailer, met like these people who were air traffic controllers and had like a really good time with them. But then someone else came in, they're like, hey, you know where you're sitting, right? And I was like, in a air controlled, I don't know, where am I? And he's like, you're sitting where Ziggy Marley once sat. And I was like, cool, hey, sweet. Yeah, it was so hot. But it was like, when it's so hot like that, like, you don't really want to drink. I mean, just like, it's
yeah.
this
It was
dehydrating thing.
I mean, they also provided, water and like misters. And I think it was just fun to go and experience a party and to celebrate us completing this passport.
And you have something immediately in common with all these people. So it's also like a good way to like go and like mingle with people
Right.
who've done the same thing.
Right.
And so that was where like the McMenamins brothers were there. You could like chat with them, hang out with them for a bit. But
Because they're at every party, right?
yeah. And their
So I mean,
families.
that's right. I mean, like that's pretty cool. And I think usually there's like a celebratory.
Sabering of the champagne bottle. Which is,
Yeah.
that's the first time that I saw that in practice. And I was like, I think we could do this.
I know, now it's like Jordan's thing.
It used to be my thing. I haven't done it in so long. And the last time I did it, it wasn't a clean break. I wasn't super happy with it.
Oh, it's okay.
But sabering a champagne bottle is a very powerful feeling.
And so I just think that, they make it fun. The family, they want to celebrate with you. And it's definitely fun.
We just sound like McMenamin evangelists.
I know.
So we complete the second passport.
Oh, God.
We go through that one. And so we had a unique experience with the second passport.
Oh,
And
well, wait. I was just going to say a little side. So when you have the passport, because like I said, there's the pages and you have every single location. But if you take your sweet time and McMenamins opens another location, then you have to get the extra page insert. And it's like you have to complete however many there are.
right.
And so, if you have your passport for, 5-10 years, you might have some additional pages you got to
Mhm.
implement.
Which that would be disappointing. Like you feel like you complete it and they're like, ooh, sorry, you have to go to Tacoma, Washington first to complete this.
I know.
So once we completed our second passport, we were invited to a trip, and the party was going to be in Tacoma, which is quite a ways for us. But they were in the midst of redeveloping this old Elks Lodge,
Right.
into, into the hotel, into the brewery, into a ballroom, all this stuff. And so when we go, it is in the middle of construction.
Yeah, there's like scaffolding.
Like there's stairwells that are just open. Like people could just fall.
I mean, we were surprised at the level of disarray.
And
And I don't know. I mean, some of the rooms were done. I mean, it was
ish.
it was done-ish.
There nothing to protect you. I mean, no one was wearing a hard hat. I mean, and again, it was like alcohol was just flowing. People were getting lit. And when I say people, I'm talking about me. I feel like I don't really drink that much and I very rarely get intoxicated, but I don't know, something hit me and I was toast.
And Jordan's a big guy, and I didn't know how to respond because, again, he doesn't normally do this, and so I thought he was good, but you guys, he wasn't good.
Until after the party.
So we survived the party, we go to our little Airbnb, we're hanging out, and the play that Jordan was just in locally is being performed in Tacoma, and I don't know, I mean, I've seen it a million times at this point. I was like, oh, Jordan's never watched it. I was like, would you like to go and watch this play? And he is game. He's really excited about it. Tells me to buy the tickets. I buy the tickets. I look up. Jordan's passed out on the floor. And I'm like, oh, no. These are non-refundable. And so I'm like, I call our friends thinking they're going to give me some advice. They were not helpful. I just have to figure it out. I'm like, can I lift Jordan? Like, I guess I'll just leave him there.
This 200-pound man.
But as soon as I tell Jordan the tickets are unrefundable and I've already paid, he like has this moment that he's like coherent and it's like, okay, well, we gotta go. So then we're like running down the street to make it in time for the show.
But I also think we get an Airbnb, or we get a lift or something, I think, to the theater.
I don't think so.
You think we ran to the theater?
I
think we did. Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna trust you.
You weren't totally there.
I was mostly there.
But I was figuring out how to go. So we run to the theater. We make it in like a couple minutes to spare. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun. I mean, the play was just okay. It wasn't like
it was done well.
Right. It was done well. I think the source material is fine. And then it was like, as we were watching it, well, as I was watching it again, I was like, why are we doing this? And then Jordan totally passes out. Anyway.
I'm in and out. It's good.
So,
okay, so just it baffles me that they were able. I would love to see like what their insurance looked like in order to throw like a party where there was just unlimited access to free alcohol in this place. And then the food, they didn't have food because they didn't have restaurant built yet in this location.
Right.
So they had like
these food trucks.
I think 2, maybe 3 food trucks.
There was
to accommodate hundreds of people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we stood in that food line forever.
Right.
Like way too long. And if they were running out.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't as free-flowing as the other party we had experienced. But that's the gamble of a free party, right?
Yep. And it was ridiculous. So, yeah, and once we got those like concert tickets, so we went and saw Trombone Shorty and Orleans Avenue. I think that's the name. We saw The Roots, and we were able to see Lizzo. And so what was nice about our tickets to Lizzo is that we were able to also gift 2 of those tickets to friends and relatives. And so we were able to go together, which was really cool. But when we went to the Roots concert, so again, Troutdale is like at the gateway to the gorge, this like beautiful section between Washington and Oregon of the Columbia River Gorge. And so it's an iconic place to go recreate. But it was also the site of a devastating fire several years ago. And so we're at the Roots concert and we're like, doesn't it feel kind of smoky tonight? And then come to find out when we left the concert, the fire had broken out that night. And so that was like a really strange thing to kind of realize.
I think the fires, it was very surreal. I think like you and I were like, oh no. And then, I mean, that story was huge. I mean, people were like devastated.
I think still are devastated.
Right. I mean, it was a very unfortunate event. Like a young kid, maybe teenager, was playing with fireworks, wasn't it? Or maybe they were camping, but yeah, accidental, being stupid.
I think it wasn't quite. I think it was just being stupid.
Just being stupid and made this mistake with this huge, and it had a huge impact. I mean, it just like wiped out so much of the forest, and yeah, just kind of a very sad thing. And so yeah, it was just so weird that you and I were right there when it happened and had commented on it, but didn't realize
what we were in for.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I mean, we clearly have a lot of McMenamins memories, a lot of nostalgia, a lot of love for McMenamins and like what they have created and what they're trying to do. Like, I feel like the recent thing is they were looking for investors because I think that they probably needed more money and they want to keep expanding or whatever they want to do.
It's something post-COVID. I think there were some like interesting, unfortunate decisions made at a corporate level that affected a lot of employees with McMenamins, but
right.
I mean, also, I don't know what you're going to do when you have that many properties. I mean, I just feel like they needed some more revenue. And so, yeah, they're looking for investors, but definitely like investors that are high rolling.
Yeah, they were we read, because we got an email about it, I think. It was like, oh, like if you want to be an investor, McMenamins, like you have to have, I don't know, at least $3 million or something. I don't remember.
Think the minimum was you couldn't invest unless you had less than $100,000 that you were going to contribute immediately. And then you had to have like a pretty constant revenue stream personally to do it. And I was like, God damn, you guys.
Anyway, yeah.
So, yeah. So, needless to say, we're not investors.
We're not investors.
Interesting. So, yeah. So, that is our journey, more or less, with McMenamins. It's something that you and I have done. It caused us to travel around these, like, corners of like the Portland Metro and of Oregon.
And Oregon and Washington. And maybe it took us to places that we wouldn't necessarily have sought out on our own.
No, never.
I also think like I'm sure there's like ghost stories and things at these hotels, like McMinnville. I mean, there are things like aliens and I mean, they are quirky and I don't know. I just feel like they probably have something for everyone.
And they do they do festivals pretty regularly. I mean, they have the Wassail Fest that we've never done.
Mm-hmm.
They have Brew Fest at several of their breweries. And again, a concert series. It's really fun what they're able to do.
So thank you for listening to our shenanigans about McMenamins.
And, maybe you too, maybe you don't go and do the McMenamins passport, but maybe it inspires you to like, take a look at these, like dust the cobwebs off of these like corners of places that you've been interested in or places that maybe you've heard of and to go check them out. I mean, if nothing else, like our experience with like the McMenamins passport kind of like taught me that and the value of that.
Mm-hmm. I was even going to say like even just appreciating the work, the art, the effort that people put into like creating a space. Like I remember we went somewhere and we were sitting next to somebody who was she had been like the interior designer, but had like picked out every little thing. And it was like, oh, what do you think about this chair? What do you think about this thing? Or do you like that the room has this or that? And, and so I think when we're really like praising the aesthetic of McMenamins and all these people, and it's like, oh, this is hand painted and this is so unique. I mean, I think that you could take that and admire that in other spaces. I mean, even our own space, I'm like, man, whoever painted that wall, you and me, we did great. Looks great. I think just appreciating art. And I think something that, just art is good for the soul and just look around, open your eyes, takes things in. And
if nothing else, I would like to challenge other people listening to this and other like businesses and corporations to like take a lesson from what McMenamins has done. Like there's just such a defined voice. Like they are uniquely their own. They're not trying to please people necessarily.
Right.
They're just doing what they think is good and what's pleasing to themselves. And that's really attracted like such a following. I mean, talk about just like leaning into what you like and what you enjoy and just making that accessible for other people.
Right. And can that just be applied to yourself? It's like being yourself and leaning into what you like, and like you will attract the right people. What a nice message. Well, we did it.
We came to an end of another journey, you and I.
And we're ready to go on another journey.
So before we're able to announce where that next journey will be, I'd like to remind everyone to check out our Instagram if you want to see some like photos of some of the things we're talking about. And that's Exploregonians. Oh, excuse me. At Exploregonians.podcast on Instagram. And then we're still looking for travel stories to feature on the podcast. So
Have no fear. Send us your shenanigans. We want to hear it.
The weirder the better.
It doesn't even have to be weird. It can be
the normaler the better.
We just want any stories, and we just want to. You want to be the only two people talking, right?
Yeah. I'm not that much of a narcissist, am I?
Well,
record something, send it into our email, exploregonianspodcast@gmail.com.
Or you can write something, and Jordan or I can read it.
Harrison Ford.
Definitely Harrison Ford. He pops in occasionally.
Yeah, I gave him a key to our house.
Anyway, we look forward to those. And we're excited for next week. Because
we are going to...
Betty.
We're going to the City of Lights, the City of Love.
All right.
How exciting for you and for me.
That's very exciting. Ooh la la.
Ooh, we'll see you next week. So until then.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. Right. Your ears are full of wax, but you're loud as fuck.
Is that gonna be like my birthday card you give me? It's almost like a haiku.
Like your calling card.
Your ears are full of Your ears are full wax. No, it's not gonna work. Damn.
Wax on.
Wax it.